And Lisa, take it away.
All right, yeah. So, and if anyone else felt like they didn't get a turn, put it in the chat and there'll be other times to talk to. But so for anyone who's new, what we usually do is I give a prompt. The prompts are always optional. You could do something totally different. And then we have about 10 or so minutes to write. I'm going to give us a little more time today since we have it. I'm going to give a prompt. We'll write until 7:50. And we'll discuss how it went. You can read what you wrote. You can talk about how it felt to write whatever you did. You can say nothing. Everything's okay. So today's prompt is to write about either a place you have been or a place you want to go. So with that, I will leave you all. I'm going to put that in the chat too in case anyone missed it. Oh, and I'll give a 1-minute warning just so you know to kind of wrap up the thought. If you're not on mute, if you could put yourself on mute just for the 10 minutes. We have about a minute left. Okay, 7:50. Joanna just asked how long we have. It's usually about 10 minutes and we're actually wrapping up now. So we have a little time to talk about it. But if you want to keep writing, you can totally do that. If you want to write after we hang up at 8, I encourage you to do so. 10 minutes is pretty short, but it's a really good way to at least get some thoughts out and some juices flowing. So I'd love to hear how it went for people. Did what you wrote on the page, is that what you expected to write? Were there any surprises? Was there a place that you didn't realize you wanted to go to, or a place you didn't think you'd remember? Any of that, I'd love to hear.
Well, if nobody else wants to start, I will.
Thanks, Jim.
And I wrote as I'm looking forward to my fly fishing trip in the last week of August to get away and enjoy the outdoors for some time for myself, physical activity, and stress relief. Also to get away from the constant noise of street racing on my residential street, neighbors blasting music that shakes my floors on many weekends. I get there by driving through Yosemite on Tioga Pass. I will be staying in Bishop, a small town with friendly people and small town atmosphere. Catching and releasing fish is just an extra part of the experience, but can be enjoyed by just being there in a ranch cabin with no electricity, phone service, and water from an on-ranch premises well, where the only thing visible is grass, mountains, streams, birds, and cattle. No tech, computers, or cell phone data. Just me, my guide, and nature. The only person I have to be accountable to is myself. I plan to come back renewed and relaxed with lower levels of migraine and pain.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it, and I love that you're taking that week for yourself.
Yeah.
And Rosalind also agrees in the chat.
And sometimes you just have to make time for yourself. It's part of pain management and part of dealing with migraines and pacing.
Yeah, that's true. And also, I don't know about you, but sometimes a vacation, you have to be flexible, knowing that it doesn't always go as planned, depending on your pain.
Exactly. I mean, sometime last year I had to take the long way around because the pass was closed.
Mm-hmm.
So you just deal with it.
Yeah, sometimes that's a nice experience, and sometimes it's not, but I'd love to hear from anyone else.
I'll share. Go ahead, Jeannie.
Okay, Jeannie, then Diana.
Okay. I love sitting in a room in front of window where I can see a full view of Mount Hood in Oregon. Although it's been many, many years since it's been a real experience, I remember this as if it's now. The mountain is beautiful and majestic, and I feel a catch in my stomach as if I'm going up in an elevator to the top floor. Seeing the mountain has that effect on me. After feeling that catch, the feeling becomes one of peace. I can't remember seeing a view that has evoked the same response really on me, although I've tried to replicate that experience. I guess it must have been the mountain itself that produced that feeling and nothing else.
I love how you described it like going up in an elevator. I felt,
Yeah.
thank you. Diana, would you like to share?
Sure, I will. I'm not going to read mine, but I'll just mention what I talked about. So I lived in Italy now 17 years ago. I studied there in Florence, and it's a place that I'd like to go back to again and bring my family just to kind of see how things have changed and how I've changed in relation to the city, and a few places that I'd go back to that I would spend more time visiting. Probably, in Rome, I'd spend more time at the Vatican than I did back then. And then also, I don't drink anymore because of my migraines, but I drank like a decent amount of wine when I was living there, and I didn't get a migraine like the entire 6 months. So I don't know why, but I was completely migraine free and I was drinking wine. So that, I mean, what could be better than that?
Oh man, what's funny is we may have been there the same year studying abroad.
Oh, really?
2005, that might be 18 years ago. I don't know. I can't.
Okay. Yeah, I was 2006. So just a year behind you.
And I went back last year, and it's freakishly the same, but there are more like foreign restaurants than I remember,
Oh, interesting. Hmm.
and there's more internet.
Yeah. Cool.
But it's worth going back.
Did you have a
Yeah.
migraine when you were there?
I'm
Because
sure
I didn't either, and I drank wine.
Yeah. Maybe that's the solution. We should just all move to Florence.
I can't say it worked for me. Does anyone else want to share?
I'd like to jump in too, because yeah, Lisa, it sounds like you and I were there the same year, 2005. Because I studied abroad too, but my school was based outside of Rome. I went to Florence and fell in love with Florence as well. So while I'd love to spend time in Rome, I'd like to go back to Florence as well. But like all of Italy just like somehow like enchants my soul. And I'm just like, the fact that it's now been 18 years is like insane. But
Yeah.
part of me is like really nervous because I don't remember any Italian, and like I didn't even have a cell phone at the time.
Speaks English to you now, like way more than
Yeah.
8 years ago. And we're going on a tangent, but you don't have to worry. Like I forgot most of my Italian,
Yeah.
and everyone insisted on speaking English when you were in Florence, at least.
Yeah. So that's
Anyone
cool.
else want to share? Oh, and I'm wearing earrings and a shirt I got in Florence.
Nice.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and share. Even though I'm enjoying hearing about Italy, someplace I've never been. I started by writing about traveling, away from here, going to Montana, and I'm in California. But by the end of it, I was just longing to go to the pharmacy, like that's a mile away. So I think that says a lot about where my migraine is lately, that like the idea of traveling on a vacation away is so beyond what feels possible at this time. And really just going to, drive to normal chores is a luxury. I mean, the other day I was telling my therapist that I really wanted to go to the DMV. We were like, this is dire. Like, if you're excited to go to the DMV, like, then it's time for the migraine to get better so that I can go see Florence, where I've never been, and I would love to go. So.
That makes a lot of sense, especially with migraine, which it's different than like your foot hurting or whatever, because like with migraine, like sensory stuff makes it worse for most of us. and it can be really hard to go and really take a lot of energy. So yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. I hope you have better days. Rosaline is sharing in the chat, been to many places, but not Italy. And she agrees that travel with migraine can feel daunting, but it is doable if you have someone to go with. And then she's also, I think, mentioning her vestibular symptom can get in the way. Yeah, those can be debilitating for travel. Does
Yeah,
anyone
there's
else?
just some comments, some things that I've learned as far as travel that make things so much easier, and it can be done, is one, to always have some earplugs. And the other thing is to take full advantage of disability services and let people know that migraine is a disability. It's just not another headache. And all those things can make any kind of travel so much easier and doable.
Yeah, one of the services is in the airport. You can request someone to drive you in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And
you
it's
know, I know.
nothing to be embarrassed about. I mean, migraines are a real disability. The only problem is it's an invisible disability.
Yeah, and also I know some people who've had their ID photo taken with their tinted lenses so that they don't have to remove those lenses during security. That's another tip. And Rosalind wrote about Maldives. I've never been. I think we have time. We're at time here, but I'd like to give a chance if one or two other people want to share. Oh, Patty, I think you're on mute.
All right, thank you everyone for joining tonight. I'm going to go to sleep with dreams of great places to visit. Thank you for sharing. It's not always easy to do that. And thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And I too will dream of many places, but I think everyone's description was great. But this mountain, Deanie, that you mentioned is like now a place I need to go. So
Oregon is a gorgeous place.
I've never been. I'll have to go sometime.
Coastline is incredible, and some of the best smoked salmon in the world comes from Astoria.
And then Diana shared a link in the chat about flying with a migraine. So another resource for anyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Diana. All right, well, I want to say safe travels, everyone, because I feel like we're all traveling in our heads. So.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lisa. This was
you.
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.